Hi, and welcome back to Beyond the Monsters. Today I have Carissa with me, and she's going to tell us her story of, single mom, suffered with anxiety, depression, OCD, many different mental health components that many of us can relate to. And luckily for her, someone amazing came in her life, and she's going to tell that changed everything for her. So she's going to tell us a story about what she struggled with, who came into her life, and how it's changed everything for her. So, Carissa, welcome to Beyond the Monsters.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yes. So you just go ahead and however you're comfortable, give us a little bit of your story and, how it led to where you are today.
Yeah, well, I'll start where I think is the easiest, jumping point, and it's how I met this person. So, I was the personal assistant to a multimillionaire entrepreneur, multiple business owner, and network marketer. And her name is Jessie Lee Ward. And really, the way that I met her had everything to do with me wanting to get out of my comfort zone. I had been about 2 years into my separation. I had a baby at 21, had a separation at 25,
Okay.
moved multiple states amidst having anxiety, depression, OCD. I mean, you can imagine the mental toll it would take on anybody.
Yes, for sure.
So once I was 27, I started kind of just getting my feet on the ground really after a separation. For anybody, it's a lot to go through. And I had been working from home for 3 years, and I just was like, my daughter's in kindergarten now. I don't want to work from home anymore. I want to get out into the world, get back out
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So I had literally made the conscious decision that I wanted to change my path. Went onto Facebook and found an ad, or really just a post looking for a personal assistant, um, highly active entrepreneur, must be, all the requirements. And I just
Mhm.
said, hey, I think I would be perfect for this. I've been an assistant for almost 10 years at that time, like, 6 or 7.
Mhm.
And they interviewed me, and it was like fate. She liked me and I liked her, and I was going to start in the new year. It was right 2 weeks before Christmas or so. So
Okay.
put my 2 weeks in at my job that I had, my normal 9 to 5, and was like, okay, I'm going to start working for this lady. I don't know anything about her. I've never heard of her before. Uh,
Okay.
and really just wanted a change of pace. And man, she gave it to me. I can imagine if you were sitting next to your assistant, or maybe you have had people
Yeah.
in your team, you really just kind of have to dive in and just get to know each other, and like
Right.
goes the more you know as you go. Like there's really
Mhm.
not a pamphlet, here's all about me. It's kind of just like, this is what we do and we're going for it.
Right.
So that is exactly what happened. And I started working with her January 2nd.
Okay.
And about 2 weeks into my employment, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at 34 years young. She had just launched her business coaching platform, which was doing amazing. She'd already surpassed $1 million in sales. I mean, and she'd started it in November. So if that tells you anything,
Wow.
she was just meant to do what she did. And
Right.
she did it.
Right.
So, 2 weeks in, her and I don't really know each other. I get the call because when she went into I'm fast forwarding here. I'm sorry, but
No, you're fine.
we don't really know each other. I'm looking for MRIs that will service her. I'm looking for gastroenterologists, everybody you can think of that you're going to need when you get this type of diagnosis. So a couple of months pass by. She finally gets surgery And before she goes in, I'm her PA. So I'm filling out hospital forms for her like I always do. And I said, "Who do you want as your emergency contact?" And she goes, "Nothing's going to happen. Just put you." And I was like, "All right," put myself down.
Mm-hmm.
That was the end of that. She had surgery. About 3 days later, she was let go to go home. They called me because I was listed as her emergency contact. And her doctor told me everything. He said, "You're the person she's got listed here. And it's my duty to make sure that she understands the severity of her diagnosis." And he said, "Unfortunately, when she left, I just didn't feel like she understood how serious this is." And he let me know that she had until Christmas. This is
Oh,
March 2023. And so I'm this 27-year-old newbie assistant. And this, a little bit about Jessie Lee is she just, if she decided something, it was. And she was like, "I'm beating stage 4 colon cancer. I'm beating it right now. I'm not going to die from this. I'm healed." And it was beautiful and empowering to be around. But for her doctor, he was like, "I don't think you understand." And he's,
yes.
scientific mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
so I got that phone call and was like, how do I tell her this? At this point, in a way, we're still strangers.
Sure. Now, is
And
she sick at this point? Like
she,
physically?
no, oh my gosh, she was in the best shape of her life. She'd found out about the colon cancer through the Grail test. Tony
Oh,
Robbins talks about it a lot,
yeah.
and that was one of her mentors. So she had done all of this biohacking and taken the Grail test, and that was where the first discovery was made. So it was like on a path of health and wellness. I'm 34. I want to live 100 more years. And
Sure.
then oof, you're diagnosed with life altering diagnosis.
Right.
So, jumping forward a bit, I had to sit down with her the next day and tell her, "Hey, your doctor called me last night and he told me that he doesn't think you're going to see Christmas. And I have to tell you this. I don't know how to tell you this other than just saying it out loud." And yeah, it was a lot for both of us. I really placed all of the emotions on her because it wasn't happening to me.
Right.
But I think once she did pass, I realized that that was a lot.
That's a lot for anyone to process, especially not even being a medical professional, too. Like, and you're used to giving like grave, horrible news to people.
Yeah,
Like, you didn't even have time to process that yourself. Wow.
right. Yeah. And I think it just speaks to, I believe in alignment and I believe in, you know, we all have a higher power at play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just speaks to the testament that I was meant to meet her and she was meant to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know how I powered through that, being the person who would be a neurotic mess if I dropped my cereal that morning. Like,
Right. Right.
it was like, how am I holding it together
Yeah.
for her just so I can, pass on this news, but also like, how am I powering through this and what do I do? Because, we're in March and he's saying maybe till
December.
Christmas. Yeah, and I'm a single mom and I kind of just thought I could go back to my old job or I can go get a
Mm-hmm.
new job or I can just stay here and fight the fight and see what happens.
Right.
And honestly, it was an easy decision. It didn't really feel like one. I just kind of told myself, like, if she's going to fight this in whatever way she chooses, I'm going to be here
I'm going to fight with
because
her.
there's a reason that we're in each other's lives and
Mm-hmm.
how it just did not feel right if I were to go, "Hey, I'm going to take the safe route and I'm going to leave." It just didn't feel right. So I stuck it out with her. And I'm glad I did. And I'm probably
Mm-hmm.
going to cry any minute
It's
now.
okay.
I'm holding it together.
It's okay.
But yeah, so we did. She took the homeopathic route. She did not do chemo or radiation. She wanted to try and fight it naturally, holistically. So, I mean, she probably saw, by the time May came, I'd say she'd saw at least 20 to 25 different doctors, medical, like
Wow.
MD to holistic to whatever else in between.
Were they telling her that holistic wasn't the way to go, or were they giving just all different opinions? Like,
I would say every traditional doctor was against it
okay.
pretty easily because it was such an aggressive cancer. They don't know when it started because they'd found it at stage 4.
Right.
They'd taken, I think it was like 11 to 13 inches of her intestine out. It
Okay.
was a lot. And she would say, of course, I would get, a aggressive cancer because look at me. I'm not a normal person. I'm not going to get a normal little
Right.
speck, I'm going to get the big thing. And at the end of the day, she was healing. Her tests were coming back, no news, no growth. Scans were coming back good. Tumors weren't bigger. They weren't appearing in new spots. So we were like, it's working. Something's working. And she looked amazing. Like she was glowing. You would never know she was a sick person. And I won't ever describe her as a sick person, but for the sake of the story,
Right. Right. Sure.
you would never know. And about July is really when our energies kind of synced and we were a unit. And that's when I'd noticed changes in myself, like just the way I would walk into work, walk into the door, like just ready for the day, whatever was going to come at us, we're good. Versus back in January where I was like, I don't know if this lady's going to like me. Oh my gosh, like just nervous all the time with that nervous
Right.
energy. Versus like just walking in confident and ready to go, knowing whatever comes, we've got it.
Right.
So that's when I noticed that change in me, which was huge because having a baby at 21 and
Mm-hmm.
knowing, I knew I had anxiety. I didn't really understand that it interlinked with my depression, with chronic depression.
Mm-hmm.
But having a baby that young already, having those types of struggles, it really just amplified everything in me. So by the time I'd met her, like I was neurotic. I was not like this calm woo woo, like, oh, everything's gonna be fine. Let's put some frankincense on it and you'll be good to
Yeah.
go. Like, and now I'm like totally like just trusting in the plan and yeah. So by July we were really in sync. She had her huge mastery program that she would put on. And it was just like I felt on top of the world. And so did she. But behind closed doors, she was in a lot of pain. And it was just like her and I would just look at each other and I would just be like, what do you want me to do? Like, who do I call? What do I do? August was honestly just a blur. She started getting treatment in Malibu, California. And by then, she'd come home early September. I had just come back from visiting my grandmother, who we thought was going to pass. She's still here, thank God. But
Oh.
it was kind of one of those where I went home to see family and she was doing her treatment. And I came back and I just said, I need you to go to the emergency room. She was like, I'm blacking out in pain. I'm like, I can't take it. And I said, I need you to go to the ER.
And she's not taking anything for pain either?
I believe the past week, so the week before
Okay.
she was admitted, she
Okay.
was taking Tylenol 3.
Oh, that's okay.
So, yes. And that was like, that took a lot for her to take anything, like
Yeah.
hard medication like that. But she was in a lot of pain, and I just was like, I need you to go to the ER. Like, I can't in good conscience, like, just watch you be like this.
Right.
And um, we went to the ER, and 7 days later, she transitioned to heaven.
Wow.
Yep. So
When she was doing good.
she was doing excellent, and it was just that timeline between end of July till September 16th is when she passed. Um, that things changed, and there was a change in the treatment plan. Um, but at the end of the day, scientifically is how they described it. It metastasized. And it can metastasize quickly, overnight, if you will, at that stage.
And it was already so aggressive, right?
Yeah. So I believe she technically passed from sepsis because she was septic. The When you have stage 4 cancer, you get this fluid. It's called ascites,
Mm-hmm.
and it built up in her abdomen. She looked almost 8 months pregnant, and she was very tiny woman. Like,
Oh, right.
sometimes she would read on the couch with her blanket, and I would think she wasn't home. Like, she was tiny.
Right.
And so it was very obvious that something, there was fluid buildup, and they would drain it, and
And it would come right back.
yeah. So, and I mean, she weaned herself off all medications. She was there 7 days. I think day 3 or 4, she said, "Stop giving me this. I'm going to get out of here. I need you to stop giving me this medicine, the pain relief." And, yeah, she fought. She really wanted to get better. And, at the day before she passed, I put my hand on her, and I just told her, "You and I believe in the same God. And if you go home, it means you did everything you were supposed to do. And I love you." I've told this story a few times to close friends, so I have a little more strength today, but um it was one of my greatest honors, having worked with her and learning from her. And I don't mean business. I don't mean the stuff
Life. You
that we
mean
don't get to
life.
take with us. Yes, I mean life. She'd gone to Egypt 2 weeks before she passed, or 2.5 weeks before she passed, which was on her bucket list. She had spoken on one of the biggest stages in her career, just probably 6 weeks before. I mean, she was constantly doing what she wanted to do. She did not stop living, and she did not live like a sick person. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but to be absorbing that, to be in proximity of that.
That kind of energy and that just will. God.
Right. Right. And I'm telling you, from the last day that we had together, and we looked at each other, and, I said, "If this is just an infection," because we still weren't certain what was
Right.
going on, "you are more than capable to be an infection." And she goes, "Yes, you're right." And then I said, "And if it's something else, we already know that there's always been a plan set." And it was beautiful for us to have that much of a connection. And I didn't really realize it then, because a lot of her surrounding support system was very much just in the energy that she was, that you're going to get better no matter what. There's no other option.
Right.
And I was still kind of in that, survival mindset from what I'd been through, to be
Right.
able to look at her and be like, if this is what happens, we both know that means you did all the damn things you were supposed to do, and you should be
Right.
very proud. Of course, I'm sure it doesn't feel that way, but I knew
Yeah.
she needed to hear it. And I hope that I hope it meant something to her, because it never was
Oh
coming from a place
gosh.
of
I'm
disbelief. It was
sure.
just, I wanted her to have comfort. It's okay if it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is a very short version of my time with her. And, it, well, after she passed, I really went through a huge depressive wave,
Okay.
but it wasn't my normal depressive wave. Having chronic depression, I describe it, I'm never not depressed. It's just like levels of it,
Yes. Yes.
where, okay, today's a good day because
Mm-hmm.
I got out of bed and I felt, more positive than I usually do. And I
Right.
did my little routine where, okay, today's a bad day. I'm snoozing my alarm for 2.5 hours. I don't want to
Yep.
get out. Or,
Mm-hmm.
just,
Feels like gloom and doom some days, and I'm right there with you, girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like my normal depressive episodes. It felt like I had this, oh my gosh, I almost feel like I was like the puppet, and there was a puppeteer just kind of like walking me through what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But internally, I felt conflicted and I felt lost and I felt pain.
Right.
I had, not only did I enjoy working for her, but I had made a career out of it in 9.5
Yes.
months.
Right.
And I felt like, as a single mom who's just gone out of this messy situation, I finally have something that's mine. I finally did it. I'm on my own 2 feet and I don't feel like I'm drowning. And to lose my friend and my career in the same day, that was a lot to process.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. So I
Did
think that
she throughout that? Did she kind of talk you through that at all? Like that would come someday, or was she just so determined? Like this is not happening.
we never ever entertained or had a discussion of an
About her not,
alternative.
yeah, of her not making it.
Right. Yeah. So
Was
it
she
was a lot.
married, or was she married or had kids or anything?
No, she had a boyfriend, and she had two dogs, two fur babies.
Oh,
Yeah, Wookie Lee and Kumba. And one was a pit bull, and Kumba was a mixture of Shar-Pei and something else. But they were beautiful, probably the healthiest, most loved puppies I've ever met.
aw.
At one point, I was cooking their meals. Like, they were very, very loved and well taken
You're
care
like,
of.
yes, you are definitely children.
Yes, without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Aw.
But yeah, that was tough. And like I said, I experienced it all with her. Like, I was in the room. They came in to talk about hospice 2.5 days before she passed. And watching them ask her, do you have any next of kin? Do you have any children? And just seeing her have to answer those questions, I'll never forget.
So young to even, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like just having experienced that, and this is not ideal for everyone. I'm not saying go out and, do exactly as I do, but it
Right.
really put in perspective, like, I can't be in a prison of my mind and limit myself just because I know I have these conditions does not mean I have to put limits on myself.
Right.
And I think that is the biggest lesson. Like, I would never have thought I'd be on any podcast ever.
Right.
Because I'm used to being, the background
Right.
girl and, the one, texting other people to set up their interviews with Jessie Lee. And, you
Right.
know, and it took me a year, but
Okay.
the process from September 2023 through probably October 2024 is where I came full circle, I felt like. And I'm like, okay, now I have to start living for me.
What does that look like? You know, you're going through this year and you're grieving a lot of different things. You're grieving for her life, the life she should have had, all the things.
Yeah.
And you, oh God.
It honestly, if I didn't have support and she left me with a village, because I was very alone before I met her. I moved to Dallas, Texas. I co-parent, and I don't have family out here. We wanted our daughter to go to school out here, and this is where we landed. But I was very alone.
Mm-hmm.
And
so her people also became your people.
Yep.
Yeah.
She left me physically, but she left me with a lot. And I really needed it. And I think that anyone is going through grief or any of their mental health struggles, it's finding your people and finding your support and remembering that you're not a burden when it's your people.
Right.
And that was probably the glue, more than likely anything, is that I had so many people uplifting me, loving on me, checking on me.
That speaks so much of who she was then.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, I can remember, like, I've had a lot of loss and traumas. And, you know, like, even I was 25 years old when my first husband died. And listening to you say how you had all of this around you and people, like, loving on you and all these things, I can remember feeling so alone like that. And I didn't have that. You know, I can't imagine what it would have been like to have it. But yeah, that's who she was. She left you with that. Oh gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry that you didn't, because it is the most, it's like when you get, if you've been to the beach, I'm not sure, you're in Nashville, but you've been in the beach.
Yeah, we lived in South Florida though for like 20 years.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing all of a sudden and that one wave just takes your feet out and you're just doing this.
Right.
And it's like, you know, what a blessing to have somebody pull you up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not that I didn't have some people, you know, but it was kind of part of the reason I do the podcast now too. I mean, it took me so long and so many tragedies, so many things, but a lot of it came from feeling alone and not having that.
Right.
So what an amazing, incredible legacy to leave behind.
Yeah.
For her.
Absolutely. And I'm just one person. I mean, there's so many people that I still keep in touch with, and I'm seeing them, you know, excel in their business or start a new business or quit their business and be a mom and just give everything to their family, because that, like, we all who were in close proximity to her, even if it was through social media.
Sure.
It was like we collectively just all were like, I'm going to live for me and I'm going to live however I need to live. And what is my joy? And that is what I'm going to chase. I'm not going to chase all these other nonsensical things anymore, because.
So what did you think? Like, it's a year, you're going through all the feelings, all the ups and downs, you know, that you go through with grief and loss. And when you're talking about October, like, what were you feeling? Like, what did you tell yourself? Like, what came over you to where you're like, okay, I'm moving forward and this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question, because it was honestly just one of those aha moments where you catch yourself. Like, I kept allowing myself space, you know, space if I needed to grieve, space if I needed to just rest, or if I wanted to avoid all my responsibilities and go watch, you know, 2 movies in a row at the movie theater. Like, I gave myself all of this space to just be.
Right.
And then knowing a year had passed and I was working with a not so great person.
Oh,
And that kind of reminded me like, hey, what did you say you were going to do a year ago? Like, because there was also this high of her passing. Like, I have to do everything I've ever wanted because life
right,
is short, and just, all of these things coming to me. And then, a year kind of trickles by, and you're like, oh, I'm a year later. What am I
right,
doing? And so
right.
I kind of just kicked myself back into that. What did I say I was going to do?
Like holding yourself accountable.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And I quit that job.
Good.
I was like, she would not want me treated like this. No, sir.
Yes, yes.
And I don't want myself treated like that. And I literally just said, there's always a way. That's what we always told each other. That's what she always preached. There's always a way. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to figure it out. And I did. I'm still figuring it out in some
That's
senses.
okay. That's okay.
But it really just comes down to the accountability, and
Yes,
also, what do you want your life to look like? And not chasing that, but being that. Even
being
with
it.
all the scary unknowns,
Right,
which, believe me, the anxiety is still there. It's not gone away.
right.
I just have tools now to go like, hey,
Coping skills, yes.
yeah, like, hey, I know you're there to protect me and, keep me safe.
Mm-hmm.
I got this.
Yeah,
It's time for you to take a break. I'm
right,
driving, and just, rein it back in, because it's not
right,
gone, but there's
right.
tools now.
It's amazing. So amazing.
It's just a
No, it's just
testament of how you can impact someone's life. And even
absolutely.
through the podcast, I'm certain that your
Mm-hmm.
listeners are finding so much value because
Because
you're being that person for them. Right.
yes, we're all fighting something. We're all struggling with something. And just to be relatable means
Hmm.
so much, I think, because, when we're stuck in depression or our anxiety, it feels like the world's caving in on you, right? Like we
Hmm.
feel like, oh my God, like, and you feel like you're the only person and no one would understand.
Right.
And that's what I don't want people to feel like that, because
Yeah.
there's so many of us, that
Right.
are struggling constantly.
Hmm.
But wow. I
Yeah.
hope like all her people feel the same. It has to be her like working through so many of you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I
yes.
I have no doubt. Like, I don't know how woo woo you get, but I talk to her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I recently just had finally dated back in January after like 2.5 years of zero dates.
Oh,
And before I went on our second date, I just was talking to her, and I just was saying, I want you to meet this guy. I wish you were here. I would tell you all about him. And
aw.
he brought me purple orchids on our second date, which was like, and I never spoke about this, but
That's
her
my
and
favorite.
I, yeah, it
That's
was our
that's my
favorite.
absolute, yep. Purple
Yeah.
orchids specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't work out with him, but it was also a reminder like, hey, you keep saying you got to live your life, and you're blocking this whole other, whole other piece of yourself, which is being open to receiving love. And
Right.
I really think it was just her going, hey, I heard you. I'm proud of you.
Oh.
So
So
I'm
where are you at now with what you're wanting to do, and like are you kind of following in her footsteps on anything, keeping anything going, or is she helping like guide you on all the things that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I really feel like it's a little bit of both. So I'm trying to keep in touch with her coaching group, just
Okay.
because, we're all connected through social media. So I do
Right.
try to, pop in and, gather us for certain things. We haven't really pulled the trigger on anything yet, but I do try to
Okay.
keep them within the community, and they keep it running themselves. Honestly, they've not lost touch of that community either. And I think we've
Really?
got, at this point, I think we've got a little under 1,000 people who are still in touch from her coaching program.
Wow.
So there's that as far as like, her stuff. But really, it's just bringing myself back to me, you know, having a child so young and being in a not so great relationship, and a lot of that stems from childhood trauma, which is a totally different episode.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
It's I lost a lot of myself. And I'm a performer. I used to dance. I'm a theater kid. And so a lot of what I've tried to implement, especially this year, is my hobbies. What do I enjoy doing? And why am I not doing that? Even if it is for fun, or even if it's for serious, like I want to make a buck off this. Like if I love it, I need to step into it. And so really that's where I'm at, is just stepping into myself again, living for me. I've always taken jobs where I'm of service to people because I love it, but I also need to be of service to me. To yourself. When you're a performer, I really think that a piece of you can die if you don't continue being a creative and continue doing what breathes life into you.
Right.
So I'm trying to breathe some life back into me and see where that's going to come from. I'm not 100% sure. I'm leaving it open.
Okay. Girl, I'm going on 49 and I still wonder all the time.
There's plenty of time.
You just never know. Our oldest grandson lives with us here in Nashville. He's a competitive dancer.
No way.
Yeah, and he just turned 10, but like kind of what you're saying about all that, that's something we definitely want to instill in him.
Yeah.
So he never loses himself. Because
Exactly.
it's so easy to do. It is so easy to do.
Yeah. Especially, I think that when you're meant to have kids, you're going to have them. But I am an advocate for people who are like, I'm not sure I want kids. I'm like, and that's okay. Because it was a lot at 21 to not only did my body completely change, and that was a whole other thing, but it was like, I wanted to be this type of mom where she saw me dancing and she saw me in theater, and I wanted her to grow up in the theater.
Yeah.
And there's still time, but it was like, I didn't do any of that. And I don't want her to become a mom and think I have to throw all these pieces of me away. And so that's a big part of it too, is, my daughter, I want her to, no matter her path, I want her to know like who you are and what you love matters, no matter if you're a mom or not.
Yes.
Just do what makes you happy, be in your joy. And so that's a big factor in me trying all these things and, trying to find what's my, where's my zone and where I'm going.
Right. But that's the best way to teach her, is for her to witness that all in you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's what, 5, 6?
She is almost 8.
Oh, she's almost 8 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we moved here in 2022 when she was 5. So
when she was in kindergarten.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She's 8. She's like a little sponge right now. She's seeing everything you're doing.
Oh yeah.
She's witnessing all of that.
Yes.
No, and I mean, would she wonder like why you were sad or why you were depressed like that last year or so?
Oh yeah. And it hit her pretty hard too, because
I was going to say, did she know her?
She knew
was she
her.
Around her? Yeah.
Yes. And she was really the only person when she was with me, because we do every other week.
Okay.
Jessie Lee was the only other person my daughter had met, like through me. So it was really like she knew, it's like when you go over to your mom and dad's house and you bring kids, like it's just a normal thing. It was kind of like that. Like, I'm like, we're not going home yet. We're going to Jessie Lee's, she knew her, she'd play with her dogs. Like she's our person too. Yeah. Like it's just part of your life. Right. So it was really, that was hard too, just knowing that it affected her as well. And I didn't think twice that, she would grieve her as well, but she did. And
sure.
I've always been very honest with my daughter and just tell her like, hey, I'm kind of sad today. And, mommy just really wants to rest. And, is it okay if we just hang out at home? And she'd be like, yeah, sure. And she's,
yeah.
she, and that was something we dealt with before when I was in my deep depression from the separation is I would
Right.
just tell her, mommy's kind of sad right now. And, she's asking to play. I'm like, how about we, play this card game because I can sit in bed and do it. Or,
Right.
like it's
Right.
just
Exactly.
finding a way to kind of still connect with your kids, but also give yourself
Yes.
space to be human.
For sure. For sure. I think it's important for them to understand too, and being honest with them based on, even what she's seeing. If you weren't honest, she'd know that that just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. I think that that's so important. A lot of people disagree, but I've always been
Yeah.
that way with my kids too, because we've went through it, and my grandkids, because they have to know that they're getting the truth from you. Because you're their person. They trust you. So it's so awesome that you're doing that with her.
Yeah.
And she's going to respect that so much as she gets older.
I hope so. And
Yes, she will.
it's like, I try to think of things a little too far ahead sometimes, tuning in the anxiety and OCD. It's like I I know all of the guilt and shame that I had to break through, and still some days I have to break through. And if I
Yes.
can eliminate as much of that as possible for when she's a mother, like that is enough for me. For her to
Right.
just know, like, I have space to be human. I don't have to be perfect
Yes.
on mom all the time. I can
Right.
be, I can be slow mom. I can
Yes.
be, heat up mac and cheese mom. I can
Mm-hmm.
be, Martha Stewart mom. Like you could be, you
Right.
have space to be, just be. And yeah, my mom was a single mom too, but a lot of our communication styles differ, where I
Okay.
knew my mom was stressed out, but it felt like it was me.
Your fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my mom did the best she could. I have access to unlimited information. I have access to therapists. I have access to YouTube that with psychologists who post, here's how to understand this and that. Like I have
Yes.
unlimited access to everything. I understand that my mom didn't.
Right.
But, that is the difference that I'm trying to make for her, is just to understand, like, you might not want to say, hey, mom's having a panic attack 'cause I have anxiety
Right.
disorder. But it's like,
Right.
mommy needs it to be quiet for
Right.
just like 5 minutes. Let's set a
Yep.
timer and,
Right.
figuring that out. And then for her, I'm hoping it's just second nature,
Right.
like she doesn't have
Right.
to feel like she has to make up all these things.
Well, and she's learning like tools. You're saying, okay, 5-minute timeout. Maybe she'll say that later, regardless of what it is, if she
Yeah.
needs that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have no clue even how to do let me just breathe.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know I didn't until way too late. But finally,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. And it makes us who we're meant to be. Like, I don't hold anything against my mom anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing for me when I was around
Right.
25. And I really was like needing all the help I could get with
Yeah.
therapy and everything else. I realized, like, I can either not forgive her and not speak to her,
Right.
or I can just understand, like, that's the best she could do. And I want her in my life and move
Right.
forward with that. I don't hold it
And she
against her.
hopefully did the best she could in the moment, with whatever tools she had or whatever
Right.
people she had around her.
Right.
And I think when we're younger, it's really hard to look at it like that.
Totally.
We just think, we automatically, we were the victim because mom and dad, or dad, whoever's in the family, just wasn't really present, or they weren't what we thought that they should be. So we just
Yeah.
carry that resentment for so long.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So she's in your life
Oh
now?
yeah.
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 Oh.
She's taking care of my grandparents now. So she's in a totally
Oh.
different season for herself.
Yes. Yes.
And, it's tough. We still have our days, and I'm the middle child. So I'm the one. How many kids do you have, if you don't mind me
I have
asking?
2 girls.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're 30 and almost 24.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
my mom has my older sister who's 3 years older than me, and then
Okay.
me. And then I have a 15-year age gap from my baby sister. And
All girls, though.
a
Ooh.
16-year age gap from my brother. And he's the
Oh,
first boy born in our family in 41 years.
wow.
Yeah. So she started over, but I still had that middle child flavor. I guess we just knew.
Yeah.
So her and I still butt heads, but it's a conscious decision, and there's no shame if you go the other way. If you just go, I
Yeah.
can't, I need to
Yep.
just be separate. That's
Right.
okay too.
How's your daughter's dad? Are you guys good now?
I'd say we're more in the just, we've figured out what's worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Civil, at least.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. He's got a fiance, and I think she's wonderful. My daughter
Good.
loves her, so that is like a
That's
blessing.
huge. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's like I notice the difference when he's in a relationship and not, and this one feels authentic because
Oh,
it's
good.
not the first one that, since we've been separated
Right.
5 years or so, or 6 years or so. So this one feels real, and I'm happy for them because I want my daughter to have that
To see that.
example. And
Yes.
it's not on my agenda. I mean, I'm not saying I won't have love. I'm not
Right.
exiling it, but
Right.
it's not on my agenda.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're like, I'm working on me.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
good that she gets that example. And we switch days if there's something going on his side, and
Good.
it works for us. We're
Right.
not best friends, but
Right.
you don't have to be sometimes.
No, just to be civil and just respect each other, I think is huge.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
We don't all have to be, these blended
Buddies.
families, and
Yeah. I don't know how often that really works, but people say it does. But
not for me. I'm an
Yeah.
astrology girly. I'm a Cancer. I need my space. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm done with you, I'm done.
Right. Move along.
Yeah. I'm like, we're good. We had our time.
So what do you have going on now? So what's in the plan?
Right now, I have I've started my own business in November.
Okay.
It was really to just free up my mind to be more creative. So I had to take a step back from being a personal assistant, executive assistant, because that basically takes all of my energy
All
and
your
soul.
yes. Yeah. Right.
So I started a cleaning business, and
Okay.
I love it. It's my own schedule. It's my own
Your own time.
everything. Yes, and my clients are incredible.
Wonderful.
It was really just like, at first it was just so I could pay my bills and like mentally heal from everything,
Right.
and it just became my business. So I'm doing that, and
Good.
I'm hoping to continue to grow it. I'm not ready for it
Yes.
to end just yet, but
Right.
the trick worked. My brain
Right.
feels a little bit more active. My creative juices are flowing, and so I'm
Good.
stepping back into acting and trying to find my way in the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
see, that's amazing.
thank you. And part of me wanting to be more active on social media is to break through that barrier of being afraid of being seen. And what better way to do that than just going and being your
Put
authentic
yourself
self
out there. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a huge part of it. Of course, I want to make an impact,
Mhm.
and I don't want to just be more noise.
Right.
But that they all connect, and I'm just trying to work on me and finding that groove that works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Jessie Lee, did you experience, being that she was a public, figure, were there like a lot of haters and things like that?
Oh my goodness, yes.
I'm just so curious now that you're telling me so much about her. Like, how would she handle that? Like, what?
Nothing. It
She
was just yeah.
didn't acknowledge it.
No, actually is just the strongest person I've ever met. I'm sure in some ways it affected her, but she would like watch it sometimes and she'd laugh, and she had like this roaring like cackle. Like she would
Really?
just laugh and laugh. And I was like, I watched it and I got angry, and you're laughing. Like, how are you so mentally strong?
Right.
But
Right.
most of the time, you know, she knew it existed. Every now and then she'd, watch this or that. And most of the time she'd just laugh, or she'd be like, I don't know how they have that much time, because like, I don't have any
Like, I
room
wish I did.
Yeah, she'd be like, well, do I have room on my schedule to blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, you really don't, because you're booked. You don't have time to respond. Like,
Yeah.
she handled it very well with grace. And I think at the end of the day, it's just, the way you view it. Like,
Right.
Any press is good press, or,
That's what they say.
It's just more, and it worked in her favor a lot of the times, which is kind of funny, because when people are trying to hate on you, they're trying to bring you down. Right. And a lot of times it would backfire. Like, she did this podcast with her partner, and the haters were like getting everyone to watch it, I guess.
Oh.
Well, the woman's podcast that she did, that episode ranked number 2 in the country. Like, it I'm like, this is backfiring.
That's
I don't
awesome.
understand. Like, yeah.
So
she handled it really well. And that's something that I'm still learning to do, is to be seen and not be
tough.
Afraid of who's going to judge me. And
right.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's why I had that question, because, I think of like even my grandson in the dance world. He like is ridiculously amazing. Like, in 2 years, like, won national dance honor. Mini national honor dancer last year in Las Vegas. Like, wow. And all the things. And I mean, he has social media, not that he does, that we do, but some of the hate that even he's 10. The hate that he gets sometimes. I mean, now mind you, it's probably 90% he's everything amazing and then some, and then you got, your little 10% of like shitheads all the time. But it just made me think of that, if you took anything from her with that, because you said you were wanting to get back into theater and do things like that. And I think it's tough.
I think so too. And I think I kind of transmute it into, if I wasn't meant to do something, there would be no resistance. There would be no like voices in the background, or people jealous, or whatever word they want to use, envy, whatever. I would think that it would just, it wouldn't feel. Authenticity makes ugly people really angry
and uncomfortable.
And I think that if I'm in a room where there's none of that, I'm either like at my highest vibration, they can't reach me, or like, it's just
like, shit, am I not making an impression at all? Yeah.
I think it's just part of like, okay, this side of this world, it exists. So if I want this, I have to have both, and I have to figure out how to have them both. And to me, the end of that road is worth having both, because it's where my, I don't know where my life is going to lead in theater and acting and performing, but I know how I feel, and it's worth it.
Right. No, it's amazing. And you're beautiful. And now you've had all these experiences already.
Thank you.
You need to make sure you're out there talking about it, for sure.
Yeah. And just spreading her message. I promised her I would, I said, I thank you for sharing your magic with me, and I'll spread it everywhere I go. So I'm trying to spread the magic. I'm trying to share it.
Well, you are. Oh.
Thank you.
God, I could ask you like 5,000 different questions about her. Now I'm like intrigued. I'm like, all right, when we're done, I have to definitely look her up and read about her, and just.
Yeah.
She's left her mark. That's for sure.
You have to go on TikTok and see her last TikTok. It is.
Okay.
It'll make you cry. But her last TikTok she shared, she did like a montage of goodbyes, not knowing. And it's really beautiful, because it's just her. It's just her being silly, and it's beautiful.
Is that your favorite thing that she left, as far as like a video or anything? Because I can have Kenna, maybe we can get Kenna to put it at the end of this, like in memory
Oh, you should.
of her.
It's beautiful. It's very silly. It's just her signing off. And it was her last TikTok ever.
And
So
she
I
had no
think,
idea.
nope, none of us did. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think that that's perfect because it's really just a testament. Just be
Right.
yourself, try to feel a little joy, and the rest is going to fall the way it's supposed to fall.
Where it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way to leave this.
Yeah, this was amazing. Thank you so much.
It was so amazing. I mean, we have to definitely have you back on down the road too, just to see where you're at.
I would love that.
I think you're going to do big things.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you always have her with you.
Absolutely.
You always have that. You'll always have that little voice telling you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she wakes me up sometimes because I'm, in my self-doubt and
Right.
all the darkness is consuming me. And then she's like, what are you on about?
Right.
And that's how she would speak to me. She'd be like, why are you worried right now? And I'd be like,
what are you doing?
I'd be like, I don't know. And then she'd be like, okay, so stop. And then we'd figure it out. And, I have to figure it out myself now. But I hear her voice. I still hear her voice. Like if I'm thinking of her or I feel like she's saying something to me, it sounds like her. And I feel like that's just because she's that powerful.
I mean, that's what we could all hope for, that we leave something like that behind. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I needed her. I really did. I was not myself for almost a decade. Yeah.
And now here you are.
Here I am. Sorry, everybody else.
Don't know what to tell you.
There was a lot of people who were probably really happy when I was in my dark ages.
Well, they can just keep on hating, girl. Let them hate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Seriously.
Well, you're awesome. You're awesome.
Thank
Just
you.
keep going. Keep going. Keep doing it.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for coming on. Yes.
Thank you. I can't wait to see all that you do and grow.
Me too. Never know. Every day's different, right?
Exactly. I never set limitations.
Yes.
Like some people are like, so what do you want to do once you do that? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'll come up with 15 different things by then. I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, honey. Well, I appreciate you. And I know there's a lot of people that will take something from this.
Good. I hope so. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hello, how are ya? It's Jessie Lee, and welcome to this episode of Jessie Lee Heals Holistically from Stage 4 Colorectal Cancer. I'm your host, crazy cool Jessie Lee. Okay, so in all seriousness, I only picked this person's comment because they are saying something about the results or whatever. So I have no idea what they're talking about a biopsy. There's nothing to biopsy. So, hello. I am coming to you live from California. And I just wanted to tell you, my doctor called after 8 days today to give me my PET scan results. And if you've been following along, you might have noticed that maybe I'm not posting as frequently. A large portion of that is that I'm in pain. I've been talking a lot about it in my Instagram stories, and I think I've talked about it on some TikToks here, but my stomach hurts here. I feel super distended. My kidneys, they feel fine right now. I took Tylenol about 2 hours ago. But they hurt. When I sleep, I don't really sleep. I flop and I flip like a fish all night long. I'm getting like 3.5 hours of sleep, which is not good for recovery. So I'm freaking out. I don't have my dogs in California, which is a crime. And anytime I travel, I feel so out of tune. You know what I mean? Like I'm so used to having my juicer and my regimen and my clinics I go to and whatever. And I'm here in California for treatment. I'm not like partying, but I feel like I don't have everything that I need, even though I have everything I technically need. Make sense? So anywho, this is week 2 of treatment out here straight, which means not my dogs, which depresses me. But my doctor finally called today after my PET scan last Monday. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, if you're watching this. And I think part of me is still in shock. So I don't know if that's like normal for cancer people's. You guys will have to tell me in the comments, but like, I'm going to cry again. I can feel it coming. But I've cried like on and off about it. But like even when I was on the actual phone with the oncologist and I have visualized this to be something where like, anytime I get good news, I like burst out in tears, and it didn't happen. But I will update you. So I got really good news today, everybody. So my doctor called me and he said that many of my lymph nodes have gone back to their original size with no evidence of disease in them. The ones that still remain have decreased in size. There is no mass on my right ovary anymore. That is literally gone, so praise God. And he says, just schedule another PET scan in about 6 months. I'll see you then. If you don't know and you're new to this channel, I was told now that I have less than 30 days left to live. And I was just told by my traditional oncologist at Texas Oncology, who reads my scans and orders my scans for me, I don't know, see you in 6 months. Like, I'm in shock. I should be bawling again for the 15th time right now. Like, wow. So all of this is working. All this holistic stuff is working. I do look healthier. I thought I looked healthier, but now it's confirmed. I do notice my hair growth is crazy. My nails have grown a lot. I just think I was so scared because I was in so much fucking pain. So cancer die-off is a real thing that no one really talks about. When the cancer cells die, they get angry, apparently. So I'm experiencing some anger in my stomach and back regions. But that's about it, my cancer-free friends. So I'm not yet at no evidence of disease. That is obviously the goal, but this is a huge milestone, big mile marker. I feel like I'm rubbing lymph nodes, by the way, for what is she doing? It's just one of the first days I feel like I can breathe in a really long time. And so that's my update. Do you guys like my non-toxic nail polish? Isn't it so cute? Jess Stoney sent it to me. It's from Senegens. All right. I love you guys. Bye. Thanks for following. Okay, toodaloo kangaroo. After a while, crocodile. Catch you on the flip side. Sayonara, suckers. Cheerio. Gotta run, buttercup. Bye.